I wanted to put out this self-reflection video today because I want to keep my creative juices flowing in times where I'm not doing my Wellness on the Rocks podcast or putting out material or recording material. I originally thought when I started this podcast, I was going to be able to put out an episode a week. And that has proven to be very untrue. I didn't really process how much work this whole thing takes when I'm doing all this by myself. And I just kind of wanted to come on here today to sort of just like shed some of my thoughts and feelings about the process in times where I'm not putting this podcast out. I've gotten some really good feedback from people. I think one of the things I didn't expect was how people were going to receive this thing. And it's been one of the most interesting things to see. Some people have been very supportive. Other people have been not so supportive. But it almost feels like me putting vulnerable work out sort of brings out other people's like emotions, insecurities, feelings. So like there's been people who have been very supportive, and then there's people who say, fuck, dude. Yo, talking into a microphone by yourself is very challenging, by the way. It takes a serious level of narcissism to do this. But if I'm being honest, like I think that if this is the way I channel that energy, then instead of doing other destructive things, then I think I'm in kind of a good spot. But I really like doing this stuff. What are some of the creative challenges that I've been dealing with? The big one, I guess, would be just getting guests to come on the platform who are good communicators and who are confident, good communicators with humility, good stories and wisdom to tell. I mean, that's like essentially who I'm looking for in this. I don't really care what job you do. I don't care what you look like, how old you are. I'm looking for people. The mission of this podcast is to basically bring awareness to what people working in the hospitality industry experience, the good, the bad, the ugly. I want to promote guests and their stories and their brands. And I want people to enjoy their time that they have. I mean, that's kind of the concept of podcasts. Like, it's like you're listening to a story, you're listening to entertainment, you're learning something, you're educating yourself. It's similar to going, I mean, if you think about it this way, like going to the bar, you're enjoying the passage of time. So I'm kind of trying to take that concept that I do at the bar and put it here on the podcast platform and the YouTube site. I think that like it's a beast. This thing is a beast. It's a great learning experience. I feel like even though I've only put out 4 episodes, the whole process of this, I've learned so much just in terms of like things like pitching people on coming on my show, the creative look of my podcast icon on the platform, audio editing, video editing, hosting somebody, bringing a guest over, like all these things I've grown in. Even if my podcast was to end tomorrow, I would have been like, oh wow, I actually learned a lot through this process. And it's not. There's no way, shape, or form am I trying to end this. I'm trying to keep this going. But I thought I just wanted to kind of like express a little bit to the people how this process is going. Why am I doing this? I continuously just, I'm asking myself this, like, what is the purpose of all this? I think that, like, again, I might have said this before, but the main goal in this was I kept hearing people in the industry come to me and vent about the difficulties that they go through in their personal lives and their professional lives. And I started to see this theme that a lot of men and women deal with. And I was like, okay, let's like figure this out. Let's like, what is a solution to some of these problems? I also find that people in the hospitality industry can oftentimes be very selfish. And I feel like everyone kind of secretly hates everyone a little bit sometimes. And I'm trying to create a platform that builds people up as opposed to bringing them down, which is what a lot of people experience in their professional lives, dating lives, family lives, personal lives. So I think the that's sort of like a main foundation, is like, how do we grow? How do we uplift each other, ourselves, and those around us, our coworkers, people who work under us, people who work below us, above us, our bosses. Yeah, that's like a big one, is like, there's a lot of selfishness, not only in the hospitality industry, but in business, in sports teams, in other jobs, law offices, like whatever it is, like competition is part of life. And there's levels to that. I think I don't really, when you're talking about competition, I don't go out and look at other podcasts and compare myself to them. Like, I'm competing with myself every day, every episode, trying to make myself better. And all these other podcasts, like, I'm happy for them. It has nothing to do with me. I can only control myself. I think that, like, doing these episodes, like, I had an episode recently talk about challenges where the guest was supposed to arrive at a certain time. They were, an hour late, couldn't find parking. I'm trying to help this person out. I go outside. I realize my car was towed. I have a pit bull at home who I had a dog sitter. My dog is at the dog sitter, and I'm getting texts from the dog sitter like, yo, your pit bull won't calm down. Your pit bull won't calm down. And I'm going through all these things right before I record one of these episodes. And I'm like, holy shit, like, my fucking anxiety levels are up here right now dealing with all this stuff. Like, how do I, like, center my emotions and calm down and, like, focus on the task at hand and the guest? And it almost feels like every episode things like this happen, go wrong, like the little thing, the equipment, the lighting, the sound, something like that. And that's definitely been, like, one of the biggest challenges. But another challenge, I'm really trying not to pay attention to the views and the numbers and things like that. I'm really trying to focus on the work. I made a goal when I started this to hit 21 episodes, and I'm not expecting to have thousands and thousands of views or make money off this by episode 21. I want the work to continue. I want to get better at the work. And once I have a blueprint and a system and a routine, then I will focus on the numbers, on all that other stuff that, makes things tick and bringing in money and stuff like that. But, like, I'm a really big believer of, like, focus on the work, focus on the craft. When you get good at the craft consistently over time, that's when the other things and the numbers and the money come. Maybe that takes 2 years. Maybe that takes 8 years. I'm not going to focus on those things. I'm focused on being a good host and putting out good work, because that's the only thing I can control at this point. With that said, if you like, I've gotten a lot of feedback from people who I didn't even know followed me on social media, who didn't see it. Oh, Taylor, we love your podcast. We love what you're doing. My one thing I would ask from you guys is to share my work. Tell a friend, text it to somebody, post it on your social media story, share it on your Facebook page. A couple people have, and I greatly appreciate when people do that. But I do want to get the word out there, and I want to try to, like, sell this thing and, like, to other people so I can have more great guests on and grow this product. Like, this is what I'm going to be focusing on for the years to come, is this foundation right here, this episode podcast, Wellness on the Rocks. And I got to get the word out. And like I said, I am a one-man band, so it's free. I mean, sharing this thing doesn't cost me anything. It's like, when you're the bartender and the customer's paying you in compliments and writes a big tip, big zero through the tip. It's like, it's kind of like, yeah, man, I'm glad you're having it. But, I never ask for money from anybody. I don't do anything like that, but, sharing, it's a free thing that really helps me out. So, I'm trying to think of what else I can talk about. I just, I'm just trying to keep these creative juices flowing and stay up to date with this thing. I do have a couple guests in the queue lined up. I do have interviews and podcast episodes coming up in the next few weeks. And the turnaround time with them is, editing and all that stuff. But I am happy. I do feel like this is going in a good direction. And it's a process. It's a grind. It's an experiment. These are all experiments. I'm not a professional at any of this. I never went to school for any of these things. I'm a guy who learned all this on YouTube and from listening to other great podcasts and reading books and listening to music and all these, this creative journey that I didn't know anything about when I started, really. This thing of expression that like I'm kind of diving into. It's very strange. But I just I appreciate the people who are, who have taken the time to check out the podcast, and thank you. And just keep looking. Give me all the feedback I can get, is good feedback, negative feedback, neutral. Like, I don't just need compliments from people. Like, I think honest feedback is better than no feedback at all. So let me know what you think. Thanks.